Next week begins a new series, but an odd one because I already made the first 2 videos in the series 3 years ago. I would recommend watching those episodes, link in the description, but be warned they were the very first videos I ever did and are a bit rough. I wanted to address marriage because despite how important we say marriage is and how often we defend it and argue about it, we often don't have a very clear picture of what marriage actually means. And many people use the word and yet mean wildly different concepts. So this series is meant to help unpack what we mean and what is possible when we talk about marriage, and in particular, Christian marriage. So the first video in the series looked at how marriage is basically seeking recognition of a relationship with some authority. And it examined the 3 different types of marriage that are out there, depending on what authority you put your relationship under. And how Christianity is really only concerned about one of those 3, but we argue for all of them. The second video looked at how much less formal marriage was in the Bible than today, particularly in the early Old Testament. And how having sex was basically all it took to be married. It was the symbol and the ceremony and everything, which is why the Bible cares so much about who we have sex with, because in a real sense back then, it was marrying that person. So the next video will be looking at how marriage is Jesus' dominant view of the intimacy that we can expect with God, and how that can shape both our view of heaven and our view of marriage today. Then I'll be taking all of these different ideas of marriage and looking at them in the light of what marriage looks like today, and whether it is still relevant or necessary. Because we use terms like love and marriage very loosely today, and in so doing, they have lost a lot of their meaning. So we can say that marriage is sacred and special, but at the same time, we can find ourselves having to defend Elvis impersonators in Las Vegas officiating 2 drunk people who had met earlier that day. Not much sacred or special there. So how can we separate the marriage we mean from that? Or can we? Then finally, I'm going to take a look at the debate within Christian circles on the acceptance or not of homosexual marriage, and how we as Christians can look carefully at that issue. I am definitely taking my time with this series, because if I am going to cause flack no matter what I say, I at least want what I say to accurately reflect what I believe. And I have personally found it very helpful to think carefully through these issues, and I hope you will find it so as well. But until then, thank you for watching. Have a great week. See you next Friday.